Everything changed the day that I was raped.
He hit me in the head and knocked me out.
I remember holding the closet thinking, what just happened?
A month later, I found out I was pregnant.
If this is happening to me, surely I'm not the only one.
$16,150 service members were assaulted in 2009.
About 500,000 women have now been sexually assaulted in the U.S. military.
They let this man get away with everything but murder.
They gave him Military Professional of the Year award during the rape investigation.
They made it very, very clear if I said anything, they were going to kill me.
Most Americans assume that there is access to a system of justice.
You would think that because the military is about protecting our country, that certainly they would want to protect their own.
We're a country who needs every good soldier to make sure we have a strong military defense.
How many women are leaving the military because they've been sexually assaulted or raped?
Civilians see it as being a military problem.
Most rapists are repetitive criminals. They do it again and again.
They go on to literally prey on women and men, girls and boys in our neighborhoods back home.
When does this ever end?
Both my dad and my brother are prior Navy and now Army National Guard, and it's kind of like it follows in the family and follows the footsteps. I was excited and completely just hyped up about going, and all my family was proud of me. My dad is my biggest hero.
I told her, I said, you're going to be taken care of. And I guess that's one of the hard things that I have to accept, because I told her that she would be. It was in February. We got a call.
Once he was done, he rubbed his hand all over my entire body and told me, he said, I own all of this. And I was just absolutely scared, didn't know what to do. I called my dad.
One of the first things she said is, Dad, I'm no longer a virgin. And I said, what happened? He said, I was raped. And I said, Hannah, you're a virgin, because he took something from you that you didn't give. I said, so don't ever think you're not.
My main nerve in my spine was pinched in 3 places and my hips were rotated. I could barely walk. I had collapsed due to muscle spasms in my back because my back was injured during the rape.
Females would come up to their commanders or their NCOs and say that they were either sexually assaulted or abused, and I don't think it was taken seriously. I think a lot of times a cursory investigation was done, and they were basically told to just suck it up.
I remember bringing in a young service member who had been brutally raped and bringing her in to see her command and trying to make sure that this young girl was taken care of properly. And this idiot chewed her out for crying, told her to stop crying over spilt milk.
A lot of times the credibility of the witness was called into account. Had the potential victim, had she made claims like this in the past. There was a lot of witch hunting going on.
What we hear again and again from soldiers who have been raped is that as bad as it was being raped, what was as bad, if not worse, was to receive professional retaliation in their chosen career merely because they were raped.
The Marine Corps, one of the many things they told me was the way in which I was assaulted was not actually a crime according to the UCMJ, which is that anally and orally assaulted, that's not rape according to the military, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It's a crime to cheat on your wife, but it's not a crime to rape someone anally. But essentially, the Marine Corps decided not to press charges,
but meanwhile, the Marine Corps hasn't changed any of those rules, and if it happened again.
So what actually happened to Sergeant Schroeder? Well, she got transferred away from her rapist to a new duty location. Prior to her arrival, her command called and told her new supervisors that she was, quote, a troublemaker. 2 weeks after the transfer, her new superior made a pass at her. She refused to have sex with him, and he retaliated by publicly harassing her at work. When she contracted pink eye, he asked her in front of a formation if she let a guy ejaculate in her eye. She reported the harassment to command. Nothing happened. A month later, she awoke to the same supervisor sexually assaulting her. Again, she reported to her command. This time, the command took action against Private Schroeder. She was disciplined for having a man in a room. Private Schroeder, the victim of sexual assault, was punished after a sex offender broke into her room and harmed her. Private Schroeder learned not to report crimes committed against her, so 6 months later, when she was sexually assaulted again by a Marine in a truck, she told no one how he attempted to have sex with her, or how, when she refused, he began to masturbate in front of her and locked the doors so she could not leave. That to her. Instead of helping her, her commander called her a liar and restricted her from seeking medical help or any type of counseling. And what's worse is that her commander did nothing illegal. The military judicial system allows commanders complete discretion for handling cases of rape and sexual assault. To the current standard of justice, the commander did absolutely nothing wrong. This story is one of thousands that happens during the military every year. For now, victims of rape and sexual assault must follow the chain of command, even if their commanding officer chooses to ignore the problem. We need to overhaul this system.
The problem with going through the chain of command to report an assault of any sort or rape or harassment is that the chain of command has a vested interest in keeping this under the rug.
It's easier for them not to do anything than it is for them to open up that big can of worms and have problems.
A commander of a unit at the end of the year, if there's no serious infractions or problems, rape being pretty darn serious, is going to be rewarded.
They want to get promoted, okay? They don't want to be forced into retirement because something happened on their watch that they had no control over, okay? I think it should be the other way around. I think if they don't take action, they should be kicked out of the military and not even get their retirement.
And now there's a dare. I dare the Department of Defense to create a better, fairer process for handling rapes and sexual assaults. Instead of continuing a system that punishes victims and sweeps sexual offenses under the rug, I dare the Department of Defense to create an impartial office to review and handle these cases with experts in prosecution and investigation.
You're out there with Senator Gillibrand of New York fighting for an outside check on sexual abuse of military women. Explain.
So when I hear about people being violently abused and that they have to report this to their commander, to me it's kind of like you work for a corporation and you'd have to report being abused to your boss, who may well be a drinking buddy with someone who abused you. Really, it makes more sense to have it outside the chain of command. I don't understand why someone who's been abused would have to report it to someone who may well be a friend of the person who did the abusing. It should be to people who don't know any of the people. The other thing is that accusations can work both ways. If it's a false accusation, do you want people who are impartial and don't know either side to make a judgment, and someone who's trained in family law and trained in disputes like this? Or do you want someone who says, I'm the colonel and I have to make a decision, and I don't know how to make this decision and be impartial?
The Department of Defense has a history of covering up sexual offense problems. I don't know who you think elected you to defy the Congress of the United States. What is it you're trying to hide?